So welcome. Good to see you. It's been a while for some of you. We haven't met. We haven't met in a while. Let us know where you're joining us from in the chat session. Just drop let's do it like this, right? If you are in China, just put the city name command and the city name command in China. If, for example, you are in Monserrado or you are in Monrovia, just put Monrovia command Liberia. If you are in Sierra Leone, you can put out of Freetown command Sierra Leone. Let us know where you're joining us from. So we have Tomo, Konoba City, joining us from Suzhou, China. We have Bayanga Matthias joining us from Xi'an, China. Misha F. Logan, I think he have joined in previous edition of the program, joining from Liberia. Precious from Suzhou. Siafa Masakwe. Yeah, I'm sure that's Siafa from Sierra Leone. No, but this Siafa is from Hapo City, Liberia. There's another Siafa with the same name from Sierra Leone. Welcome, J-Mas from Jujo, Honorable Ferretta, COC2. Welcome as well. I will make my father angry. My father will make you angry. Simon, joining from Bikana, Liberia. Tomo also from Monrovia, Liberia. Aminanta from Xi'an. Doro from Qufu, China. Saidu from, I think that's Saidu from volunteer from Hefei. Honorable Coco Wejla from Nanjing, China. And Henry from Monrovia, our friend and brother. Amran from Dalian, I think he joined before on previous programs. Sherman from Monrovia, Keita, Honorable Keita from Haiyan, China. Mason B. Yomi from Monrovia, Liberia. Case Lee Nano from Monrovia. Prince Ford from Monrovia. Smith from Jujo. Sam from Namibia. Someone is Samsung. Samsung, please change your name. Johnny from Liberia as well. Thomas from Painesville, Liberia. George from Monrovia. T. Williams from Monserrado. Abdul from Nigeria, Borno State. Minister Isaac Bracewell from Monrovia. I don't know if you are related to Cherik Mayango Bracewell, who's in China here. I don't know if you're related to him, but welcome. Priscilla from Suzhou, Charles from Xi'an, Abbas from Nanjing, Adolfo Swan from Wuhan, Emmanuel Fella from Liberia, Christine from Jinhua, Augustus from Nantong, Prinko from the Philippines. I'm sure that's Prince. Daniel from the US. Okay, welcome back, Daniel. Good to have you. Willie, or was he not Daniel Willie? Representing Chengdu, Suzhou, and Nanjing. Farouk from Nantong. Zoom user, please change your name. Joining from Sierra Leone. Abbas from Nanjing. Joker from Harbin. Alexander. I would say not Alexander Joe, but the person say joining from Middle East. Since Alexander is there, the next person is Honorable Flomo, Peter Bonye. That means it's Alexander. Because the person above him, I'm sure they are together. But he's joining from I see many. He's joining from Sujo Chandu again. But Juan, man, thank you. Jefferson from Liberia. Michelle Logan from Liberia, Buchanan. Claudette, if I mispronounce the name, from Rwanda. Yusuf from Liberia. Mel Gibson from Brownsville, Liberia. Robert from Teah. And then Wilfred Allen. Salim from Pakistan. Miracle from Chandu. Enes from Tanzania. Elijah from Wuhan. Mantina, Honorable Mantina from Hujo. That means my father is still angry. She have not sent where she joined us from. But thank you all for joining. This is day one of OSCC 2026. I'm very glad and excited to see you here again. So let me connect the other computer. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. We are excited to have you with us. Honorable Kawe, thank you also for joining. Okay, I'll leave this guy joining. So if it's your first time joining us, we want to say welcome. And this is the 10th edition of the program. We have had several editions covering different topics. Some of the other editions, we had so many different topics. But this edition is much more domain specific. And for those of us that are passionate about computer science, it might interest us more. Even for some of us that are not doing computer science, but we are using the internet every day, we can still learn something from the training. So please don't be frustrated. And we'll try as best as possible to not leave you behind and try to be as simple as possible in explaining whatever thing we have to explain so that the message can go across. Whatever material we have, we will share either while the training is going on or after the training. We'll also keep you updated on every other thing that we are doing. And please stay true until the end. If you have attended before, you'll understand that we do take attendance, but you will not know at which time we're going to take the attendance. Those are going to be at the end of the program. But this time around, it's not going to be the normal attendance that we've been doing with the selfie or taking a screenshot. This time you are going to use a system for the attendance to be recorded. And if you are filling in that, please use your full name as you want it to appear on your certificate. Some of you, when you're registering, you put your last name before your first name and your middle name like that in that order. So please put your name as you want it to appear on your certificate. So I'm Olano, Teah Bloh, the founder of Teah Innovative Tech. And my details are here. You can send me a message if you have any problem pertaining to this program or any other problems that are technically related, not live problems. But even if you send live problems, we have many people here who can be able to help in so many ways. We decided to train 100 people on this edition. So once the platform hit 100, we hope that you are not going to be in and out, because you might join and then you leave, somebody might take your space. So please stay close. We know some of you having data issue in your vicinity, but please try as best as possible to stay online and to follow whatever we are sharing for today. So we're going to cover a few things. Now let me just turn off something quickly. All right. Okay. Fanta, you can just turn off your camera since you are moving and it's going to be going through the screen. So we want to cover basically today, just letting you know what is a network, and then how can these things be related to our everyday life, as well as understanding few models and terminologies and devices that constitute network or computer networking as a whole. Some of the devices, we do interact with them every day. So today we're going to either learn about them or we're going to be reminded about them based on your own knowledge you have so far. We're also going to cover the TCP/IP model, the OSR model, and you're going to understand what are these models and their importance. So not just computer science, but our everyday life. We're going to have breaks in between because the program is going for quite some time. Normally, based on the time that we have, it should go for 3 hours, but we have break in between so that the brain can be able to refresh, because the brain cannot take in information after 45 minutes. It's going to start misbehaving. So you have to take a break after 45 minutes with something else and then come back to the lesson. So today we're going to cover the internetworking, and then on tomorrow we're going to cover IP addressing and subnetting, and on the last day we're going to cover the Cisco packet tracer for the practical to showcase what we learned from day 1 and day 2. So if you have not downloaded the software, please try to do so. The break time is going to be, we're going to let you know, it's going to be a video thing. We're not going to tell you to just go and walk around. We have something for the break, so don't worry. We have something for the break. So the internet working aspect of today is to let you know how devices, how networks, and how the internet itself connects to different models and different devices, and also topologies. Topologies are just the design or the layout of different networks and systems. On the 2 on IP addressing and subnetting, the essence of it all is to tell you how every device is assigned an identity, and also how the network organized and secure. Because you might be wondering, like, you connect to a Wi-Fi, how is it that you are able to talk to other devices whenever you connect to a Wi-Fi or you connect to a local area network or a hotspot? How is it that you are able to communicate or share information? So whenever you do these things, your device is assigned some identity, right? So the identity, we're going to see how we can be able to design these things and how to understand their usage when it comes to computer networking. And the Cisco packet tracer we're going to build we're going to configure, and we're going to troubleshoot real network topologies as we move along. So the network we are talking about, how to build a network, how to design a network, and then how we can be able to troubleshoot it ourselves. And after gaining all of this experience or the knowledge that we are going to get from here, it can be useful. You can apply for an IT support job, or just within your own office, though you're having a different career, you can be much more informed than your peers. You know, the people there might feel like, oh, probably this person did computer science, but it's because we are in a learning curve. Every day we learn something new. And knowledge that we gain, they are very important. Not for the moment sometimes, but then in the long run, we might need it. And even if we will not need it, our friends and our family will also need it. So that's why it's important to just be open-minded and learn new things every day. The links that you see below each of the slides, the first one there is to the website of TIT. And the second one in the middle is for the certificate verification. The last one there is the YouTube channel. So the first one, the website, after that slash, you can just put certificate verification, and it will take you to the verification page. That page will be used for you to download your certificate. So at the end of the program, on the last day, after we cross-check the attendance to make sure that you completed the 3 days attendance, we're going to issue your certificate. So if you input your last name, the system will tell you if certificate is there for you or not. So please stay throughout the program and make sure to take your attendance every day. We don't want you to just come, listen, and just go without getting something, at least from me, and just kind of give you certificate freely without you learning something. Even if it's just to understand one concept, at least you learn something throughout the program. So for the attendance, the system link will be shared with us during the time of the maybe 10 minutes to the end of the program. That link will be shared with us so that we can go there and do our attendance. On the last page will be our main focus, where you have to put your last name, your full name, as you want it to appear on your certificate, and also choose the date, today's date, and then tell us what's the topic. So today we are covering Internetworking. Today we are covering Internetworking. If you want to elaborate on other subtopics that we cover, that's fine. But the second part of it is to tell us one main thing you learned today. So you can summarize it, maybe one paragraph, and just let us know what you were able to learn for the day. So that way we also get to understand that the people who joined were able to get, or maybe many people were able to get a certain idea, or they were able to learn certain things. So the link will be shared, not now, but it will be shared almost to the end of the program. The certificate design is ready. All we have to do is to import your name and your ID on the certificate. So you can use that ID to download your certificate, or you can use your last name. For example, this person's name is Blamando. So in order for you to download your certificate, you can just put in DOE. As you can see here on the right-hand side, this is the certificate download page. All you have to do is to import your last name here in the search area, or you either input your certificate ID. This ID is matching your order ID. When you register, you receive a confirmation email. That same ID is the same ID we are using here on your certificate, or you can use your last name. Some of you probably have the same last name as others. If we notice that, we'll try to combine your first name and your last name together. So if you first search, maybe another person's name is Blamando, or no, not Blamando, maybe Conan Doe. But one person with the Doe certificate is available. and you searching with your own DOE, and you can find yours, or the other person's certificate is popping up, just use your full name. Or you can message us. We're going to either send it to your email, send it to your WhatsApp, your Messenger, your WeChat, whatever place you want it to be sent. Every day, the video will be posted on TIT's YouTube channel. Every day. If you go to the channel, you will see all of the other editions we have had from edition 1 to 9. All the videos are there. So this was for the last edition we had in February. That was the winter's edition, the 9th edition, where we cover different concepts on how to use the internet, Microsoft Word, Excel, research, and career path. These are things we cover on the 9th edition, which was in February. If you go there, you will see other videos there, lengthy, covering from start to end of the program. Based on the time of this screenshot, you could see that we had 467 subscribers. So I'm going to write it down. And I hope that those of us joining the program, we can visit the YouTube page, the YouTube channel, and try to subscribe to the TIT YouTube channel. It's your own way of supporting the work that we do. So 467 subscriber. You can always go there and subscribe, watch the other videos. In case you forget about what was taught about today, you can always go back there and re-watch the video to get the concept properly. This is also a flash, a card of the, I think it was the 8th edition last year, covering the OSCC 2025. We have Teah Pan, we have Helen S. Mombo, covering AI and machine learning. I was also facilitating one of the sessions for data analysis. And we have Dr. Teah from the US, who also talk about technology, AI, and ethics. And Abel was also available for application and web development. We also have Mani joining us from Turkey, covering different sections as well. But this one is being specific. So we have all of the platforms. You can always find us everywhere. If you are in China, Mel, you can just turn off your video. Mel Gibson. Okay, I'll just do that from my end. Thank you. So you can find us on many other platforms. The WhatsApp group, you can scan the QR code here. It will take you to the WhatsApp group. Currently, the WeChat group has 500 people, but we're going to be adding and dropping people. So if you want to join the WeChat group, you can scan my QR code down here, and I will add you to the group because the group already have 500 people. So a WeChat group cannot. Hello, can you guys still hear me? Someone said they cannot hear me.
I get it, Olano.
We can hear you, sir. We can hear you.
Yeah, we hear you, son.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm here.
So you can also find us on Instagram using TIT Network with an underscore. You can find us on IG. And Facebook also, you can search for TIA Innovative Tech. On Facebook, you will also find the Facebook page. So let's get started. Firstly, with why networking is a modern life skill. Because like I said, to some of us, we might not be that much into computer science or into computer networking, but we are using or we are end users of some of the services and products of computer networking or networking in general. Because every day we use our mobile phones. And some of us, the very first thing we touch when we wake up from bed is our mobile phone. Some don't touch the Quran, some don't touch the Bible. the very first thing they touch is the mobile phone. So let us know, probably if you're following, do you touch your phone firstly in the morning, or do you do something else when you wake up from bed every day? You can let us know in the chat session. And if you are just joining us, also let us know where you are joining us from. That is your city and your country name. You know, before we wake up, especially if you are on a Wi-Fi, many of your applications start to work, in the back end. For those probably outside of China that don't require VPN, you are just connected to every social platforms throughout. For some of you that need to use VPN, you have to connect to that VPN before you can start to receive notification here and there. All these things that are working in the background, they are all results or services and products of computer networking. They are, because understanding the computer science discipline or domain, they are programming, networking, cybersecurity, different things, but they are all intertwined. In order for you to do cybersecurity, you have to understand networking. You have to understand the basic concept of many of these things, because these are the things you either will be protecting or you will be attacking as a cyber security expert. So the concept applies to all of us. The knowledge applies to all of us. Somebody said they can listen to the radio first or turn on the radio first when they just woke up from bed. That's interesting. That's wonderful. So this thing, we all use our mobile phones. We all use tablets, our computer, and different electronic devices. These devices, they are helping us to connect to this internetwork, which is the topic of today, internetworking. So each of the connections that happen in the back end, they are all invisible. You don't really see how the cable is transmitting the data. All you see is just the notification or that new message or that phone call that is coming, but you actually don't know what is happening, in the back end. So the invisibility of this beautiful design is what we are about to discover or to learn throughout the training. But firstly, I want somebody, maybe you can use the feature of raising hand to explain to us what really happened. How is the process like if you're not seeing the presenter screen? You can auto flip between the screens. If you're not seeing my screen, you can auto flip between. I'm sure you should be able to see it. I think we currently hit 99. Honorable Willie and other volunteers, please take a screenshot of
Yes, sir.
what we have now. Thank you. So somebody can just raise their hand and tell us what really happened or how is the process like. For example, I'm in China, right? And you are calling me from maybe Sierra Leone, you are calling me from Pakistan, you are calling me from Tanzania, from Namibia, you are calling me from Liberia. How, or even you are just calling me from the same community or from the same country. How really, or what's the idea do you have about calling? Because we call every day. We have been calling from the very time we have a cell phone. And we keep using these technologies, we keep using these services, but to the most part, we really don't know how they are working. To some, they say maybe it's white magic or white voodoo. To some, is the genius of some people. But have we tried to understand the system? Have we tried to understand the process? Can anyone here explain to us how the process really go on? Anybody here from telecommunication background that can tell us how we are able to call? And so please put me in a track where, if you are here, you can just use the feature of raising hand, and then we'll give you the chance to explain to us. Or if you're not an expert in that area, you just have a little knowledge about it, you can also tell us. How is it that Mom Mary is able to call her son from Cester City and call her son in Monrovia? Or how is it that somebody is able to call from Bloh Waterside to maybe Freetown? They are able to just take, just a little device and put it to their ear and dial a number, and somebody else from the other end is able to receive that call. So if we don't know, okay, wait for it.
Okay.
Yeah, so in my understanding, the phone number is like a special unique identification number, like that's name of someone else telecom SIM, and then your phone sends a signal to the network tower like nearest to you, and then the network tower like try to communicate with the person that having that exact unique verification number, that unique number rather, and then send a signal to that person like, oh, as the person is trying to get to you. That's my understanding.
Thank you. That's also great. Yeah, you can also, if you want to contribute to this, you can also let us know. F. Emma Sele, your hand is raised. Do you want to contribute to this? Let's learn from each other. Emma, we cannot hear you. You are still muted, but your hand is raised. I don't know if it's a mistake.
Yeah, no, it's not a mistake. I'm unmuted now. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, my name is F. Emosile from Sujo City. Thank you for organizing the program, first of all. What I do know in my little man knowledge when it comes to communication or communicating from one device to another device, or from one person to another person to a different location. So you have a device, and the device receive signal from the internet, and the internet transmits the information from another device through the server. So the server now distribute the information across and transmit it to another person. So I think the server is serving as one of the key components of communication from one device to another device. Thank you.
All right, thanks for your contribution as well. Let's take the last two hands that are up. The first person will be Emmanuel, and then the last person is Isaac. Then we can continue from there.
Yeah, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you get me from. I'm Emmanuel Esfela from Liberia. So for one person to be able to call another person, maybe from Liberia or wherever they get there, it's more or less the same thing we're discussing about Internetwork. So the internet service provider or whatever GSM company that is responsible to provide network will interconnect with whosoever other network we are using from other country or wherever we are using it. So it's the same inter-network connection we are discussing. So that in that way, we'll be able to connect with each other from distances to communicate.
All right. Thank you for your contribution, Emmanuel. Let's hear lastly from Isaac. Isaac, you are very low. For those following that cannot speak, you can also send your contribution in the chat session. Let us know. Yeah, Isaac, you are very low. I don't know if you're using headset. Yeah, we can barely hear you, Isaac.
Okay, you getting me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, so my understanding is about the gateway, the international gateway that each country that is used for routing through different kind of country. So I think every country have a specific gateway that can be used on the network that allow people to call from one area to another, and it has to do with the carrier, the network carrier. So that's where my idea is. They use the network carrier to do the international call or local call.
All right. Thank you all for your excellent sharing. Reverend David, thank you for joining as well. We'll see you again on all of the programs. So thank you all for sharing. Let's also drill ourselves through on how this really happened. You know, way back, we used to have this phone that was having this this long stuff attached to it right beside it. To some, it was just seen as a design, right? But that's the phone antenna. But with the modernization of the cell phone, we have rebranded the phone in a way that this long antenna is now embedded within the device. So some of the devices, it is even on the surface of the device. Like for iPhone, I think it was iPhone 6. Back then in 2015, a patent application was also launched by Apple. This was also serving as the antenna. But some of the iPhone users, you just saw it probably as a design. But this thing you saw here before, or probably some of you say using iPhone 6 or older version of iPhone, you might still have this. That's the antenna. It's very important and very useful in the question that I asked about how we are able to make a call from our device to another device somewhere outside of our region or even within our region. So the antenna and the transmitter, they are embedded within our device. And also we have, if you are not using VoIP, that is the voice over IP, that one we use it for application like maybe video call, voice call on the different applications, or even we use it in some landline form as well. But just the normal way of you dialing somebody's phone number to call them, understanding that number word first. Your SIM card is also very, very instrumental in this process. Your SIM card, for example, as you can see in this picture, this 89 here, somebody just seen this, it tells them that this is a telecom SIM card. This SIM card belongs to a telecommunication network, which means it's used for calling. And with your phone number, it is not like a single digit or a single identity. It's in twofold. One, we have the ICC ID, and we also have the IMSI. With the ICC ID, that is the SIM card serial number. And your SIM card serial number, one carries the country code. It also carries a network code. It also carries your individual account number. And then it has something there for checksum, for error handling, and all of that. And then for the IMSI, we also have that is the subscriber identity, which also carry your mobile country code and also your mobile network code. That's where you can see maybe for some people, the country code is 86. Then you know very well probably that number or that call is coming from China. Or if it's +231, you know it's coming from Liberia. So these identities are put into place to even help the communication process. But much more interestingly, our phones, we have seen these towers, within our community. Some of us just see it, we pass by it. We don't know probably what they are used for. Our device, within it is embedded like a microphone, and we have something that operates on what we call the AD converter, the analog to digital converter. So when you are speaking through your phone, your voice is hitting that microphone within your cell phone. And that voice is being converted over the rate of 8,000 times per second. It's being converted to a digital values in terms of zeros and one. For you, all you are doing, you are just maybe speaking. But within your phone, that conversion is happening. And once you dial that number, the cell phone tower that is around you, your phone is going to transmit that signal to the cell phone tower that is around you that, hello, can you hear me? I want to speak to this person. So that happened within a split second. That's the beauty of it. Within a split second, your phone communicates with the cell tower that is within your area. The cell tower in itself don't do the magic. You know, it just tell your phone that, okay, I can receive that signal, but I'm going to send it to what we call the mobile switching station. It's the mobile switching station, like the picture you can see in the middle, that is going to analyze that number that you're trying to call to know where that person actually is. If, for example, like we talk about the SIM card identity, if that number or the carrier ID, the country code and all of that is within that vicinity, then the cell tower that is closer to the person that you're trying to call, that signal is going to be routed to that cell tower that is closer to the person, and then the cell tower is going to send a wave or a signal to the person mobile phone and for the device to receive that signal. In between, that mobile switching station is still operating. There is a computer there that is listening to the quality of your call. For example, if you're sounding so low on your cell phone when you're talking to someone and you're sounding so low, that device helps to amplify your voice. Even if you're in a traffic, maybe you are in a dwellar market, relied market, or you're in a noisy environment, it also helps you to amplify or to reduce the noise. That device that is within the mobile switching station help you to do that. And once that call terminates, it automatically erases all of the information that is established about that call. But let's say probably you want to call somebody outside of the country. That call is being rerouted also to your mobile switching station, which is connected most times with a fiber optic cable that connects to the internet backbone. And we got to understand what is the internet backbone as we move along. That guy goes throughout and communicate with dozens of databases and different mobile switching stations to find where exactly this person that you're trying to call is located. If, for example, this person, maybe you're calling from Sierra Leone to Liberia, it's also going to go through the same process. It's going to speak with your mobile switching station, and the mobile switching station is going to find the cell tower that is closer to you. And those two mobile switching stations will be communicating as the call is going on. So we're going to see a video about how this process actually happened. But just in a summary, you speak through your microphone, and your microphone acts like a drum. So as the sound hits, that sound, based on how you are speaking, the rhythm of your voice, or how loud you are, how low you are, the language and all of these things, it gets converted using an analog to digital converter, which is measured within 8,000 times per second. So that's how fast it is. Communicating with your cell tower and your cell tower will communicate with the mobile switching station. Mobile switching station will handle it. If it's a local call, it will quickly deal with that. If it's something outside of its reach, it will send it out to the internet backbone with different databases to understand where exactly this device is trying to call. And that location will also find the cell tower that is closer to you. That is why you find that some people within the interior or some people within a remote area, they are not able to call because one, they don't have cell tower around them. Though they might have a cell phone in their hand, you can buy them iPhone 17 Pro Max and take it in the village, but there is no cell tower around for the cell phone to communicate with. So they are not able to make a call. And that's maybe sometimes you hear people climbing a tree to find signal. That's basically so that you can find, your phone can be able to transmit your signal to a nearby cell tower. Or some people will even leave the village, maybe come to one town that have a cell tower or a mobile switching station for them to make a call. All these things, they are the same concept of internetworking. As a network engineer, you have a part to play in this entire system. So let us see this video on how this process actually happened. All right. Let me share this correctly. So if you're just joining us, welcome. This is day one. And while the video is coming up, there are different technologies. That's why you will find that for some advanced
Have you ever thought about how you get emails or any other information from any corner of the world within a blink of an eye? This has been made possible by a network of cables, which are laid under the ground and below the ocean. The cables, which carry most of the world's data, are optical fiber cables. They are also used in medical equipment. Let's learn how optical fiber cables work and how they have revolutionized the world around us. Optical fiber cable is made up of thousands of fiber strands, and a single fiber strand is as thin as a human hair. Optical fibers carry information in the form of light. Let's first learn some fundamental behaviors of light to understand the workings of optical fibers. The speed of light changes when it passes through a medium, and this change in speed is expressed by the refractive index. This variation in the speed of the light leads to another interesting phenomenon, refraction. To understand what it is, let us carry out an interesting experiment. In this experiment, light passes through a prism. You can see that at the interface, the light gets bent instead of going straight. This phenomenon is known as refraction. Refraction occurs when light passes from a medium with one refractive index to one with another refractive index. The light bends towards the interface when it goes from a medium of high to one of low refractive indices. Refraction is the reason why a pencil looks bent in a glass of water. This simple refraction technique is effectively used in optical fibers. Now, let's make this experiment a hypothetical one. Using some dopants, we are able to increase the refractive index of the glass in real time. As we increase the refractive index, the light will bend more and more towards the surface. After a time, you can see that the light will pass through the surface of the glass. If we increase the refractive index further, the light will suddenly come back to the first medium as a pure reflection. This is called total internal reflection. The total internal reflection is possible if we increase the incident angle rather than increasing the refractive index. In this case, at a certain angle called the critical angle. The light will come back to the first medium. This phenomenon of total internal reflection is used in optical fiber cables to transmit the light. The simplest form of optical fiber cable is shown here, cylindrical glass with a high refractive index. If the laser strikes the interface at an angle greater than the critical angle, total internal reflection will happen, and the light will reach the other end. This means that light can be confined in the optical fiber over a long distance, no matter what complex shape the fiber forms. Remember, total internal reflection happens between the high refractive index glass and the low refractive index air. However, optical fibers need a protective coating. A protective coating is not possible with this configuration. The introduction of protective material will replace the position of the air and cease the total internal reflection phenomenon. An easy way to overcome this issue is to introduce a low refractive index glass above the core glass, known as cladding. This way, total internal reflection will happen and we'll be able to use a protective layer. Both the core and the cladding use silica as their base material. The difference in the refractive index can be achieved by adding different types of dopants. The optical fiber we have just constructed won't be able to carry signals for more than 100 kilometers. This is due to various losses that happen in the cable. This loss of signal strength is generally called attenuation. Absorption and scattering are the main reasons for signal attenuation. This is why you see amplifiers in cables after a certain distance. They boost the signal strength and allow signals to be transmitted over a long distance. The power required for the amplifier is drawn from nearby sources. Now, back to the main topic. How does the optical fiber transmit information such as phone calls or internet signals? Any information can be represented in the form of zeros and ones. Assume you want to send a hello text message through your mobile. First, this word will be converted into an equivalent binary code as a sequence of zeros and ones. After the conversion, your mobile phone will transmit these zeros and ones in the form of electromagnetic waves. One is transmitted as a high frequency and zero as low frequency wave. Your local cell tower picks up these electromagnetic waves. At the tower, if the electromagnetic wave is of high frequency, a light pulse is generated. Otherwise, no pulse is generated. Now, these light pulses can easily be transmitted through optical fiber cables. The light pulses which carry the information have to travel through a complicated network of cables to reach their destination. For this purpose, the entire globe is covered with optical fiber cables. These cables are laid under the ground and below the ocean. It is mainly the mobile service providers that maintain these underground cables. AT&T, Orange, and Verizon are some of the few global players who own and maintain the submarine cable network. A detailed cross-section view of an undersea cable is shown here. You can see that only a small portion of the cable is used for holding the optical fiber. The remaining area of the cable is a mechanical structure for protection and strength. Now, the question is, where does the amplifier get power from under these deep oceans? Well, for this, a thin copper shell is used inside the cable, which carries electric power along the cable so that the amplifiers can be powered. This whole discussion simply means that if optical fiber cables do not reach a part of the globe, that part will be isolated from the internet or mobile communications. If we compare optical fiber cable to traditional copper cable, the optical fiber cable is superior in almost every way. Fiber optic cables provide larger bandwidth and transmit data at much higher speeds than copper cables. This is because the speed of light is always greater than the speed of electrons. The flow of electrons in a copper cable generates a magnetic field, even outside of the cable, that can cause electromagnetic interference. On the other hand, the light, which travels through the optical cable, is always confined within the fiber. Thus, the chance of interaction with an external signal does not exist. One more interesting feature about optical fiber cables is that any light signal which enters from the side has a minimal chance of traveling along the cable. Thus, the optical fiber cables provide high data security. You might be amazed to know that optical fiber was first used in endoscopy, even before it was used in the telecommunications field. In telecommunications, digital pulses are transferred through the optical fiber cable. However, in endoscopic cables, visual signals, which are in the analog form, are transmitted to the other end. We request your support at Patreon.com.
So that is it. Now we get a little understanding as to how these things are happening. Let's see if my screen is going up purple. Okay. Yep, so we are back. And that's why for those probably into high level cybersecurity, there's something called MC Cacher. An MC Cacher also works like a cell tower. So they probably bring it closer to you. They can even carry, you can buy it, but it's very expensive. You don't really sell it to individuals and stuff. So the person might bring it closer to you and act like they are the cell tower. So whenever you're trying to call, since they are closer to you, since that device is closer to you, that device is going to receive your call, or your call is going to pass through that device as a cell tower. Then they're going to listen to everything that you're saying, intercept your call. It's into espionage and all of these things. And similar concept go across for many other things. So it's very important to know how our call is going on, the devices or things that are around us, what they are used for, and it's very, very important. And since we talk about the fiber optic cable, it's important as well for us to understand what actually it is and how can we probably get to know more about it. So you will hear the term submarine cable. Submarine cable or fiber optic cable. Once a submarine, meaning it's passing under the ocean or passing under the sea. Because all of us, all the countries, as you can see in this on this picture, every country that has internet, if it's not coming from the satellite or from recent Starlink, but everybody needs to have a fiber optic cable that is coming to their country. So let's see the map of it and what actually is happening quite across the world when it comes to the internet or how countries are being connected across the globe. Because this fiber optic cable, as we saw in the video, the transmission of the data is moving in pulses of light. Very, very, very tiny stream. That's how the fiber optic cable is. But that guy can go over a very long distance. Because imagine running a cable from, even from Sierra Leone to Liberia. Just running a cable from Sierra Leone to Liberia. Imagine how long that cable has to be. If you are using the normal internet cable, that can only go for maybe 90 feet, then it will start to drop signal. So the fiber optic cable goes for very long distance, and this fiber optic cable constitute the backbone of the internet, or the backbone of the internet service provider. So this is the link. If you want to probably see the site we are going to show shortly, that is the link. Let me try to put up that one. Just a minute. So I don't put it up. Okay. So let's see how the fiber optic cable is connecting countries across the globe. Let's see how that is happening. And then probably we can know why our country is probably still having slow internet, way behind, and all of that. Okay. Can I hear me? Mariama? Can anybody still hear me? Hello?
Yes,
Okay.
We can.
we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, we can get you.
Okay.
You are clear.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, we are good. So let the screen come up shortly. Okay, I think it's up now. So as you can see, this is the entire map, live coverage of the fiber optic cable connection that is connecting every country on this planet. So let's expand a little bit. I want us to start from China. So all these things you see with colors, they are the fiber optic cable. Okay, all these color things you are seeing. So China is down here. Okay. I'll come to our region very shortly, don't worry. So you can see here that so many connections, so many lines are entering China. So many. With these many lines determine how fast that country internet will be, because each of these lines, they are coming with a dedicated bandwidth. So if the country can spend that much on it, that means they're either paying less, or if just one line that is running in. I think for those of us in Liberia, we have heard about, oh, the cable got broken in the ocean, or internet is down in the entire country because that one line that is coming in is broken. Because underwater, sometimes the sharks and those sea animals, they do attack the cables. So when they attack it and then they destroy it, connection is totally lost. I mean, that entire country is outside of the entire world when it comes to internet. So as you can see, so many lines are coming. If you even expand to Taiwan, you can see that even Taiwan has so many fiber optic cables that is hitting the country. So with this, you already know that this country, internet is not something that you have to be maybe struggling with, or connection is going to be very slow. But let's switch a little bit to Africa, and precisely West Africa. Let me zoom in a little bit on West Africa. So as you can see here, many of the countries, yes, the fiber optic cable are not run only under the ocean, but the main transactional point is under the ocean. But when it hits the country, because as you can see, for example, some of these countries, they are landlocked countries. They don't have ocean. So that means your connection will either pass through that country, and then the cable can even go under the ground. It's not only under the ocean. Fiber optic cable can go under the ground. For example, if a GSM company or internet service provider is trying to give an internet to your office, maybe, for example, Lone Star office is down Congo Town, and they want to give you internet to relied, they are going to make sure if the fiber line, to run that line under the ground to reach your location. Or they could either use the cell tower. But even from another end of the cell tower would be a fiber optic connection that they are just using now electromagnetic wave to broadcast that signal over the longer distance, which will also cause a little bit of delay. But fiber optic line can run under the ground, can run in the ocean, can run in the air, as long as you have something to hold the wire in the air. But look very carefully. You see that most of these guys from West Africa only have one line entering a country. One line entering a country. That means they are going to have a very slow internet. For Africans will have a better internet, because you can see here, Africans have over 5 different fiber optic lines that is entering Africans. So the internet in Africans can be compared to that of other neighboring West African countries, even Ghana. And that's why you see many people now, Ghana's economy is booming. If you have technology, you have internet and electricity, the country bumps faster. As you can see here, Ghana has 2, 4, 6 different fiber lines that are entering the country. So the internet in these countries are not the same. The speed will not be the same compared to your own country. So this is how the fiber line, if you want to read more about that company that is providing the connection, you can either click on the cable itself. Okay, when you click on the cable itself, you see the name of the company that owns that fiber line. And if you click on it, it will also give you much details about that line and all of the countries that are subscribing to that line. As you can see, the African coastal to Europe line, Sierra Leone is on that line, Liberia is on that line, Guinea is on that line, and many other countries along the west, they are also on that line. And if you click on it, you can see the route, where the line started from and where it is ending. Okay? So this is the fiber line that is connecting the world. All of these lines, they are what we call the backbone of the internet. It is not owned by a separate, or the internet is not owned by an individual, or is not owned by a specific country. And for this specific line that is connecting Liberia, Guinea, Sierra Leone, the fiber optic line is the Africa Coast to Europe line, the ACE line. And the length of that, 17,000 kilometers. That fiber line, 17,000 kilometers. And these are all the countries, the owner of that particular line, because it's very expensive to buy or to pay for these lines. So not one country is owning this. Liberia, Gambia, Gabon, Guinea-Bissau, all these people, they are all subscribing to that line. And you are also paying fees for it. So that just to show you about it, the link is also in the slide. And you can always use the link to know more about how things are happening cut across the world. So if you want to travel to a country that have a better internet, maybe this can also help to inform your decision. Or if you are to be appointed as the telecommunication manager of that country, you already know probably you need to tell the government to pay for another line, and what have you. So the interconnectivity, as you can see here, all these cables are all serving the globe. And let's circle a little bit through some kind of a joining of mine. That was the first computer that my dad's bought for the house back then in 2004, 2005. That was the computer that I first started to use at home. And basically that's where the passion even grew much more. And I think it was one day that I went to visit and I saw the computer was still there in the house, and I decided to just take a picture and with it. So imagine these days, it's very hard for you to see the monitor or the computer, in this form. Many people are using flash screen, some just moving around with their laptop and enjoying themselves. But that was not the case years back. And this guy can actually consume, this guy can consume a lot of power or energy. And this one on the far right in the upper right corner, that was my last training that I had with Manny Microtech, and that was here at a lagoon in Liberia. It was the training for the Microtech certified routing engineer. And below down here was when I was with a company called eHealth Africa. We're basically having connection in all of the counties, the 15 counties in Liberia. We had connection throughout all of the counties. And I was charged with the responsibility of managing, installing, troubleshooting, and all of these things, this network cut across the country. And some of the regions, there was no like fiber line going. There was no even radio waves, microwave connection going. So we have to subscribe to a satellite connection. At the time, there was no Starlink in Liberia because the way, not just in Liberia, but Starlink was now operating cut across the world. So we're using the normal and traditional satellite connection. And that form of connection is very hard for you to maintain because even the installation process is also complex. Unlike the Starlink that we have nowadays, what you have to do is just point the dish to the sky, and rest assured you will find a satellite that will interact with that dish that you bought from Starlink. Because the Starlink network, there are so many satellites in space that makes the Starlink. Starlink is not one satellite. So many satellites just moving around the globe. They are not in one position. Your Starlink dish is not communicating with a single satellite. So many satellites just rotating, and some of them even forming a mesh of connectivity there in the sky. This was also me back then when I was, the first picture was I had a project with the other company that I was with, and we were deploying network at the Ministry of Health in Liberia. And I was the lead engineer on that project where we were to network the entire ministry. They have 4 flows in that ministry. So all of the flows, we needed to put access point, like these things you can see on the table, this, especially this round one, that's the access point. So on each flow, you have to put this one. This is the guy that would broadcast, or that will show you or allow you to see the Wi-Fi name. You might just see the Wi-Fi name, but then you don't know how the name is being shown to you. So this device is called access point. So this access point was used on every flow. I don't know if they have changed the infrastructure there, but we use 4 on each flow, and they have 4 flows in that building. And that was one project that I was working with there. And that was in a server room here as well. So here we talk about switches and routers in the coming slides. So you got to understand these devices, okay? The one in the middle is for the National Public Health Institute in Liberia. At the time, it was called the National Emergency Operations Center, the NEOC. And the company I was with at the time, eHealth, they took that project through CDC to build that entire facility. At the time, it was just on that hill of TB Annex, and it was demolished from ground level to infrastructure-wise and everything. Even our 4455 at the time you hear about in Liberia, there was where things were happening. And I was also there managing the network and doing so many other things there. So the journey has been a good one. And there are so many experiences that we have had into this field of computer networking for so many years. And it is our hope and prayer that after this training, you'll be able to explain in plain language how data travels from your device to a website, to an app, and also how they can also come back. I think you have get a little picture of it through the fiber optic line that we have just shown, and also the video that you watch. They tell you how you are able to call somebody, or how data is being able to flow or travel from your device to another device. We are also hopeful that you'll be able to identify the role of every major device in a home or a small office network. Also, to read and assign IP addresses subnet mask and understanding and why even we use these things and what each of them actually mean. Also, to design a simple subnetted network for the small organization. To also build, configure, and troubleshoot a working network. And also for you to be able to speak confidently when it comes to using some networking terminologies and basically interact with other people or share a little idea that you know about computer networking. So when we talk about a network, one may ask then, what is a network? Just in a nutshell, a network is just devices and, sharing ways of communicating and exchanging information. So you and your partner might be a network. You and a friend might be a network. You and the entire family in the house might be a network. And that's why you also hear people using the term, in my network, I have so many people. I have some of my friends, they are doctors. Some of my friends, they are police officers. Some of my friends, they are lawyers. In my network, I have so many great people, right? So the same thing, in a computer network, we have devices. We have nodes. Every device on a network is called a node. Every device is called a node. And then we also have links connecting these devices or these nodes together. And each of these nodes needs to have an address. The same way in your own network, all of your friends will have an identity. Your friends will have a name that you can be able to address them by. Because you cannot give something that belongs to John, you cannot give it to Mary. So each person needs to have a name. That naming convention constitutes the addressing. Even sometimes you might even know their affiliation. With that, you can know probably how to deal with certain device, how to deal with certain of your friends or certain people. The same concept applies in networking. You first need to have an addressing. So every device needs to have a unique address. And then the issue about the network and the internet, the network is just one or two group of connected devices. Okay? One or two group of connected devices constitute a network. And the internet is a network of networks. And that's how we have the internetworking. So when we hear about the internet, well, I'm going to use the internet, I'm going to browse on the internet. The internet is not a one place, it's not a one system. The internet is you and I sharing our resources, sharing our information. You share, I receive, I share, you receive. So it's just the issue of client and server ideology. Today you have food, you give me. Tomorrow I have food, I give you. This other person have water, they give us water while we are eating. Another person have salt and pepper, they give us salt and pepper while we are cooking. Maybe this other person need oil, we give them oil while they are cooking. The exchange of information. Maybe another apartment has another thing, another apartment has another thing. That's how the internet actually works. You have your own, maybe for example, if you have your own system, let's take the case of YouTube. YouTube is just one part of the internet. And in that concept is called a server because it's serving all of us. It has video on it. So we go there to request videos. We are now serving as a client. YouTube is serving as a server. There are different platforms cut across. You might even be using TikTok, Instagram, and all these platforms. So all of these things connected constitute the internet. It is not being owned by America. It's not owned by China. It's not owned by any specific country. Though we have regulatory bodies for the internet, but it's not owned by a specific individual or a specific country. And it is not something that is just sitting down in a basement or sitting down in a house or a specific company that we call the internet. It's just you and I sharing and receiving information on our own systems. That way we have now what we call the client and server concept, or the three-way handshake. I think I'm having a little bit of latency or delay. Okay. So the three-way handshake operates as in the concept of, for example, maybe YouTube and us, or maybe any other platform. It could be a university platform where you're trying to get a research paper from, or you're trying to download software from. The same concept operates. Before you can communicate with someone, I mean that device, as in this case, for example, computer number one is requesting information from computer number two. Computer number one wants to have an image that computer number two has. So it first goes through the process of synchronization to ask, and we'll understand it better on day 3, I mean day 2 and day 3, how this process actually works. Computer number one, computer number two will have their own identity, their own addresses. So for you to reach computer number two, for example, YouTube is just the name YouTube, but the computer in itself don't understand the name as in YouTube. It understands the attribute or the equivalent binary values of YouTube. Even your name, the computer don't understand your name as maybe Mohammed. Mohammed is broken down into zeros and ones. It is the zeros and ones that your computer understands. So that's why the concept of DNS we'll talk about later on comes in. Because you as the human, it's very difficult for you to read or memorize the binary system. To memorize the binary system. So the DNS aspect comes in so that the conversion of these binary things, we can find an English name to give it, such that we map, for example, youtube.com, we map it with a specific IP address, and that IP address is broken down into binaries and all of these things. So the same way, if you want to request from another device, it goes through a synchronization process. That computer will then receive your request and then also synchronize and acknowledge. Then the other computer will also now acknowledge computer number two. Once this process happens, then you guys can start sharing information. It's the same thing, maybe you just meet somebody for the first time. You have to either greet them, like, hey, bro, and the person say hello. And even the same thing has affected our brain in such a way that when we are calling, you say hello, 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 hello. Like you're trying to establish so the two devices can have what we call a three-way handshake. Once both devices are able to establish that, okay, this person say hello to me and I respond to them, now connection is established. We can start to share what we want to share. With this process, also have something called winnowing. Because whenever you send, for example, an image or a document from one computer to the next, it don't just go like that. It goes in bits and pieces. There's something called sequencing. So it will have a sequence number. So that entire document will be broken down into pieces. And in the winnowing process, you can change your window size to 1, window size to 3, and all of these things. so that once the first bit is going, there should be a time to acknowledge that, oh, I received the very first package or the very first bit. You can send new one. So once you send to one computer, that computer will have to acknowledge receipt of what you have sent before you can send another one. So there's how the process of the three-way handshake works and the client and server approach. So whenever you are requesting information from our website, these things happen in the back end. From our perspective, we just see that the file just gets transferred maybe so quickly. But that file, be rest assured that it is broken down into bits and pieces. It's not just going as a whole file. You are not just sending that entire picture, that entire video. You are not just sending it like that. The computer has already broken that into pieces and is going into different trunks, smaller pieces. And then the receiving computer will put all of the sequence number together and then reform what we call decapsulation. Reform that entire thing and say, oh, there's a video. After putting all the pieces together, now it tells the other person, it show it to the other person. If any of the sequence number is missing, that's when you get probably the file is corrupt, file is damaged, or the transfer didn't go, you have to restart or retry. That is because one of the packets that was being transmitted actually lost along the way. That's what happened when we are sharing information here and there. But then we might have heard about network, internetwork, and the internet. We have talked a bit about it. The network, like we said, is one group of connected devices. The internetwork is when you connect two or more separate networks together. Then the internet itself is the largest internetwork in existence. So whenever we are using or hear about the internet, we should not envision it like some kind of place you are going. Maybe, for example, some would think maybe I'm going to Google search. So you just call Google search maybe the internet, or you just call Google the internet, or you call maybe YouTube the internet. No, it's just a part of the internet. Google is not the internet. Google is just like you having your own system in your house. So your system is not the internet. Google is not the internet. Amazon is not the internet. Facebook is not the internet. All these systems constitute what we call the internet. So for a network, it's just few devices, one or two devices connected, sharing information is a network. If we take those few devices and also add other devices or sub-networks, they constitute internetwork. One, two or more network constitute internetwork. If we combine A and B, we have the internet. So like I said, nobody owns the internet, but we have regulatory bodies that set standards for us to follow. Like for example, the Internet Engineering Task Force and the Internet Cooperation for Assigned Name and Numbers. These are few entities or organizations that help us to manage the way we use the internet or the way we communicate and share information on the internet. Because this thing is very big and there are different sides of it. You might hear about the dark web. The dark web is something else that is not solely accessible to the normal user until you have a software, either like a Tor browser or other browsers that will give you access to the dark web. But you, the normal person, what you use is one side of the internet. So we need to have regulatory bodies to help us manage these things for safety and also to avoid crimes. But that does not mean a specific country is owning the internet. With this, I will stop here and we take our first break by watching this video. And then probably we can discuss it after watching it. It's a break video, probably not related to what we have just discussed, but it is something surrounding ethics, surrounding AI, surrounding system, the way we as humans should treat or interact or design or think about systems and AI.
How many would trust the advice of the app, the algorithm, the marriage prediction app? And how many would trust instead the advice of your mom?
Oh, that's not fair. Nobody else votes against mom. No. So that's like, you got to use somebody else. Can we think for a minute?
Hard honesty, but I'm trying to be honest.
Hard.
In this,
I think for a minute. It's not an easy choice.
Right. Hello, can you hear the sound? Someone please confirm.
No, the sound is breaking.
The sound is breaking.
It's breaking too.
You pause it, right?
Yeah, I paused it, but were you hearing it first?
The sound was okay, but it was a little breaking too.
It was breaking.
Okay.
Breaking too.
Okay. Let me just restart it.
How many would trust the advice of the app, the algorithm, the marriage prediction app? And how many would trust instead the advice of your mom?
Oh, that's not fair. Nobody else votes against mom. No. So that's like, you got to use somebody else. Can we think for a minute?
Hard honesty, but I'm trying to be honest.
Hard. I think for a minute. It's not an easy choice.
All right.
And
please don't.
And your mom may watch
this to my mother.
Show.
Yes.
To marry or to date? Oh no! This is for marriage. We're talking big stakes here.
Okay.
This is.
Someone is speaking. Is there any problem? Okay, then let me try to play the video from my computer itself. Maybe the. Okay. Yeah, so let me try to play it from my computer. I think the sound was not that perfect. Let me see. Break one.
How many would trust the advice of the app, the algorithm, the marriage prediction app? And how many would trust instead the advice of your mom?
Oh, that's not fair. Nobody else votes against mom. No. So that's like, you got to use somebody else. Can we think for a minute?
Hard honesty, but I'm trying to be honest.
Hard.
In this,
I think for a minute. It's not an easy choice.
All right.
And
please don't.
And your mom may watch
this to my mother.
Show.
Yes. No.
So, how many here would go with the matchmaking algorithm?
To marry or to date?
Oh, no. This is for marriage. We're talking big stakes here.
Okay.
This is marriage. Who you choose as a partner is like a big decision.
The most important decision of your life.
I'm reverting my vote if it's binding. I gotta go with my mom. Yes.
If it's binding, you go with him.
Mom. Gotta go mom.
Everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's two reasons why I would go with mom. One is that if you use an algorithm to matchmake you, then you're assuming and really trusting that the algorithm knows that you know what you're looking for in a partner. And I think that many times, certainly for me, I actually didn't know. I had a list, this long list of things. And this actually happened to me where I talked to my mentor, who's basically my mom. And she said to me in the conversation, I will always remember, oh, take that list and throw it out the window. She said, because what matters is that you choose someone who cultivates you. And that opened my eyes. And when I looked at it through that lens, I actually decided who to marry. And he's now my husband, and we're very happily married. The second reason is soul. It's spiritual. And the best matches, your spirits and your souls have to match. And that is the thing that no algorithm, no machine, no matter how sophisticated it gets in learning, that's the thing that computers will never have.
Because now I want to start defending algorithms. To me, no, it's just a matter of time. All of the facets you just mentioned, Carol, give it enough time and we'll turn all of those things into data.
Turn what? All including soul?
I mean, that's a separate debate.
Right.
But for example, the way I interpreted what you said was your mom knows what are your values, right? And she knows your values since you were very young. She knows what you like or don't like and so on. But from one perspective, all of those at some point can be turned into data. What you value in your life, what do you think is good or bad, what is acceptable or not acceptable. It's just that a lot of those preferences or life experiences haven't been converted to data just yet. Once you do, the algorithm is straightforward.
I disagree.
It's just a data problem.
But maybe
I disagree.
No,
here's the thing. People have a path of self-discovery, right? And it takes a while for you to get to know yourself. Some about them mamas, they know you, they know your predilections, they know when you lying, they know all the things, and they have I don't know what it is, they have their own algorithm. I agree with you there.
I think my point is that it is maybe not an algorithm problem. Ultimately, it's the shortcoming or the reason we all pick mothers or algorithms is actually not the algorithm. It's you're picking mothers over lack of data, lack of sufficient data.
Like the other panelists, Rohan said he'd trust his mom's recommendation over that of the matchmaking app. But later in the discussion, Rohan came to the defense of algorithms. The problem, he said, was not algorithmic decision-making, but the lack of sufficient data. All the ethical factors that Carol and Melanie cited, values, soul, spiritual paths, all these considerations could, in principle, be converted into data. Do you agree or disagree? Can everything we care about be converted into data that algorithms can use to make predictions, even in matters of romance?
All right, so what is your own view about that? Do you agree or you don't agree? Do you believe that everything we do can be converted into data? Maybe let's hear from, so we have 1 hour and 20 minutes to end day one, and we still have a few things to cover. We have 1 hour and 20 minutes. I think somebody asked about when you're going to end. The time is on the flyers from 7 to 10 China time. So we still have 1 hour and 20 minutes here. But let's hear from two persons. Do you believe that everything we do is going to probably be converted into data? Or okay, Sean, I don't know, you can unmute yourself, your hand is raised. What do you think about the discussion?
Yeah, from my own understanding, I believe that everything can be converted into data because actually, I never had the honor, but I met a math teacher and he said that we should give him our age, then he'll calculate our whole lifespan. So he was able to turn my age into a data form. So I believe that anything can be turned into data.
All right. So Sean believe that our life and everything we do can be turned into data. Let's hear from Sim. Sim? Madeline? Okay. Then let's hear from Arvin.
Can I talk because my mic is not my I don't know how to put my hand up.
So should I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead, Arvin.
Yeah, quickly, I just agree with the previous guy, so I won't be long. Quickly, once we have enough data into an algorithm, a good decision can be made. I think so because one person cannot have all the data that a computer can have. So that's just.
All right, but do we also think that like the conversation was happening? Do we think that this is going to affect the aspect of relationship or like maybe people using dating app? Do you think a dating app can actually reach to a point where it can tell you everything that you need to know about this person? Or do you think everything we do as human will be one day converted into data? Now I don't have to maybe meet you again. I can just study everything about you, all of what you have been doing and make informed decision. Madeline, your hand is still raised. I don't know if you still want to speak. Madeline?
It's okay. It's fine.
Okay. So let's hear from Jefferson. What do you think about this, Jeff? Jefferson, if you are there, fine. If not, somebody using a phone number here, please change your name because it's difficult to, your hand is raised, but you have a number to your name. While you are...
Yeah, I can go ahead. I'll change it later. So sorry, President.
Okay, go ahead. Say your name and...
It's Samolu, yeah. Samolu Bala from Shanghai.
Okay. What do you think, Samolu?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it can be converted because if you watch over the years, some of the statistics that people predict what could happen in the future, like in the health sector, I'm a health medical practitioner. So if you see some of the funding WHO come up with to predict the unforeseen health conditions, it comes from those data that is collected every day. So I strongly believe it can definitely be converted to that.
Okay. All right. All right. So let's hear from Amos. I think Rachel, you can try to raise your hand, but if you can, then I'll get after.
I can't actually do it because I don't know how to do it on a computer though.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I should speak now or Amos should speak?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You can speak now.
From my own point of view, I actually agree. I actually agree with the last guy that dating can be converted. All of these things can be converted into the algorithm. The algorithm can give you a perfect date match for what you want. But then again, you should know that there are certain times that people lie on their dating profiles that they are setting this and that, this and that. I don't know, but when it comes to personality, you cannot match personality with data with numbers. I think that's the flaw I see in it. But when it comes to who is right for you, what height you want in the persons and this and that, you can get it, but you cannot match it with the personality of the person because personalities are always measured by directly how you view the person from your human perspective.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So let's take the last three persons and then we can come back to the lesson. Emma Sion. If you are speaking, we can hear you, though you are unmuted, but we can hear you, Amos. Okay, while Amos is trying to fix that, let's hear from Dolo. Dolo?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so information, yes, can be transformed to data. For one common example that I know is that there's a simple way we use AI. So more often when you are using AI based on the way you use AI, when you ask AI to tell you something about yourself, all the information that you've been requesting from AI, questions you've been putting in, AI look at that and they decide to make that entire data out of information about you that, yeah, this is what you love to do. You love to do this, you love to do that. So yes, information actually from a person can be converted into a data.
Okay, all right. All right, let's hear from the last two people. That's Jasma. Jasma, are you there? Amos, are you back? Jasma, are you there? If not, we hear from the last person, George.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you can come in.
Okay. For me, I think I agree with all of the color, but with the basic language, computer can understand what is the binary code, which is the 0 and 1. I believe everything we do, like texting, taking picture and music, the voice communication is data. So that's what I believe. I agree with the previous.
Oh, all right, thank you. Amos, we still cannot hear you, so probably we'll get back to you on the next video, on our next break time. So if you are following, probably you put in talk, maybe you can think about it. Like if some of you have used maybe dating app, do you think it's possible to find a perfect match or for somebody to actually know you better from your online engagement or your online activities? Do you think, not just you, but even yourself finding someone, do you think it's possible for us to let me meet this person? Okay, thank you. So let's come back to the lesson. And that way they also tell us that we need to, if everything can be converted into data or will be converted into data, then we have to be very careful how we are using the internet or how we are using, basically the internet. You know what to say online, you know what to do. Not when you say online is not just Facebook, but anything digital, anything that has other electrical, microwave signal, Wi-Fi signal that you are using, you gotta be very, very careful. Even your microwave in your house that you warm your food, that microwave is a signal. It can be transmitted. It can be understood. Your microwave in your home. So somebody might know so much more just from your microwave. They might know so much more from the things you buy online. That's why sometimes you see that you will search for something on Google, and then the moment you go on Instagram, you will see that thing you were searching for. On the other side, you try to see it somewhere else, or it will just pop up to you. Or you might search for something on another app. If you go to the other app, you will find it and you'll find these things there. Even some people, if you just save a contact to your phone, Facebook is going to suggest that person to you. So we have to be very careful as to what we do online and how we interact and what we say online. So back to the lesson, we are now going to focus on the models that help us.
Yeah, you see. Yeah, Unoka.
Come in, Emmanuel, you can mute yourself. So let's go back to the model that help us to run the internet. Because back then, devices like IBM systems were not usable, or you couldn't have other systems to actually interact with them. Let's say, for example, maybe you have a Dell computer. Back then, before the OSI model was developed, it was not possible for your device to also interact with an IBM computer. So that's the kind of problem we had in the very beginning of this whole internet and networking thing. So this company called the International Organization for Standardization in the late 1970s, they created what we call the Open Systems Interconnection. So ISO created the OSI. It is this OSI model that gave us the ability for whatever manufacturer it is. It could be either, maybe you are the manufacturer of this Bluetooth technology company, and your Bluetooth device, how you wanted to connect to an iPhone, or how you wanted to connect to a Samsung. This OSI model gave us that advantage. Prior to that, your Bluetooth would just be Bluetooth by itself, while this other brother cell phone would just be as it is. Or you will have to either make another device to complement your Bluetooth technology. But now with the OSI model, it gives us that advantage that we can just reference this model when we are doing our manufacturing or production or creation of things or system, such that another brand can be able to interact with our device or with our model or our product. So prior to the late 1970s, this was not the case. Everybody was operating on their own status or their own standard. And this model is broken down into 7 different layers. The 7 different layers, each of the layers have one job. That job is to communicate only with the layers directly above it or below it. And it's also give us the ability to troubleshoot. So sometimes maybe if you're an IT person or you're a technical person, or even if you're in the lab, for example, you're trying to run some specimen and you realize probably the specimen is not running or the sample is not running. You first go and check to see if the device is on. That process of you checking to know if there is a power in the lab or if the device is actually plugged in is a referencing one of the 7 OSI models. If the device is plugged in, you move to the next step. Is this device now connected to maybe other devices? As in networking, we go to the next one, which is the switch. Is this switch actually working properly? If the switch is working properly, you move to the next one. Is the router assigning IP addresses or assigning IP address to this device? So you keep moving layer by layer until you can figure out what is the problem. So the OSI model gives us this standard. The OSI model is not a physical model. The model that we use today is the TCP IP model, which is a condensed version of the OSI model. So this is the OSI model, the 7 layer of the OSI model. I think I have a little bit of latency or delay. So my slide will come up. Okay, I think I can see it now. So the 7 layer of the OSI model, from the bottom to top, the top 3 layers, their function basically is how applications will communicate. And then the lower 4 layers is how data will be transmitted from end to end, from one device to the other device. So the transmission of data covers or constitutes the bottom 4 layers, while the top 3 layers deal with how they will communicate. So the first one is the physical layer. This layer deals with the actual cables, the fiber optic cables, the electrical cables, the cell phone tower. They are all part of the physical layer. The data link layer, it deals with switches, basically the MAC address, assigning MAC address to a particular device. Every device on the planet has something called a MAC address. The MAC address is the physical identity of that device. A MAC address of that device can be given to another device. So for the switch operates at layer 2. So sometimes you hear people say layer 2 switch. Layer 3 is the network, where we deal with assigning addresses, even the GPS routing, IP addresses, they are all under the network layer. The transport layer deals with 2 main protocols, the TCP or UDP. When we say TCP means we want a reliable delivery of our data. Or if we're taking a UDP protocol, that means we are prioritizing speed and fast delivery. So for example, if you are, for example, I'm coming, somebody, Marcus. Okay. So if you are transferring files and you want to make sure that all of the files are actually sent properly, that process you can subscribe to the TCP. Because TCP basically deal with reliability to make sure that whatever you're sending should be received. Nothing should be lost in between. But if you are doing, like, for example, voice call, video call, gaming, and these things, you use the UDP protocol. There we are not focusing on data loss. You can be doing a video call and probably somebody can say something. UDP is not going to care as to what the person says. So you will have glitch. So you can say probably the call sticking or the video sticking. So the video that's sticking or the call that's sticking or the glitches you are experiencing is because of UDP. UDP just prioritizing that you should have this call, you should play this video game, this live broadcast you are doing, it should flow. There should be nothing about check and balance. The session deal with allowing you to stay logged into either your Gmail account for the whole day or your Facebook account so that you don't log out. It's all deal with the session, how to stop and start different sections. Presentation formats our data, right? It formats our data. It also deal with encryption, decryption, and all of this happening at the presentation layer. The application layer is just the application itself, like the WhatsApp, WeChat, Instagram. So that's the application layer. So when you deal with the application layer, you send a message through Instagram, through WhatsApp. That message is being formatted into something that can be understood by the other device, which is the presentation. It will also encrypt your message to make sure your message is safely delivered to the next device. Going to the session, making sure that you are still on, and then each layer will add their own identity to that package as it keeps going through. So the process of it leaving from the application coming down is called the encapsulation. And then the person you want to receive it is the decapsulation process that makes you to receive what the previous person sent to you. So this OSI model helps us to be able to go through that process or allow devices that are being manufactured to go through this process such that if you have your own manufacturing company, we can all adopt this same standard. Regardless if you are Apple, regardless if you are Samsung, regardless if you are Cisco, or whatever company you are. So if you're sending email, if you're transferring files, it all happens at the application layer. So protocols there, SMTP for sending emails, FTP file transfer protocol for transferring files. At the presentation, it formats the data, it deals with encryption and decryption. The session, either start a session, stop a session. The transport layer has two main protocols, TCP, UDP for reliability, and another guy don't care about reliable things. The network deals with IP addresses, routers. So when you understand what happened at each layer, it helps you to easily troubleshoot problems or easily identify what is happening to that system or to that network. So for the application layer, it's closer to you, the user. Like the software that consumes the data, it all happens at the application layer. The Instagram, the WhatsApp, the email, all of that happen. Presentation, like I said, it formats the data, it encrypts, it compresses the data, so the next person can be able to receive it properly. Layer 5, the section, it opens, it manages, it's closed, ongoing conversation between two devices. And then layer 4, the transport, it breaks down into manageable segment, and it shows reliable order or speed. When speed is needed, speed should be prioritized. I'm sure others are hearing me, so if you see you can hear me, just check a device. The network, it handles logical addressing and routing to find the best path for your data to be sent throughout the internet. The data link handles addressing and delivers within a single local area network. And the physical, just the actual things that you can touch, that you can feel. So the original, that was the OSI model. This TCP/IP model, the TCP/IP model is the model that we are currently using. The TCP/IP model is the one we are currently using. The original one was just 4 layers. The application layer, because if you observe carefully, we said that the top 3 layers deal with communication. So the TCP/IP model just put everything together on an application. There is no presentation, there is no session. That's just the difference. But then it also had internet, which has been brought back to network layer, and the link has been recoded as data link, and the physical layer was added. So while the OSI model is the standard teaching and reference framework, the actual set of protocols running the internet today is the TCP/IP model. Just like the same thing we talk about from the OSI model, the only thing that happened is layer 7, layer 6, and layer 5, they are all under the application layer. And the rest of the other guys remain the same. So for the TCP/IP model, layer 5, which is the application layer, that's basically the data. So like I said, each layer will add its own information. When it comes to layer 4, the transport is going to add either TCP or UDP. When it comes to layer 3, it will add either IP header to it. And at each of these guys, there are specific names they are called: segment, packet, or frame. So the original, the OSI model, and the TCP/IP model, The only difference here is the top 3 layers. It just consider the application layer for the TCP IP model. For the OSI model, it's just all 7 of them. TCP IP just combine the top 3 into one. And like we talk about the TCP IP, TCP establishes connection and ensure that when information is lost, there should be a retransmission of anything that was lost. That's why you can experience for fast download, maybe trying to download a software from the internet. If maybe the network gets very slow, or probably the network is turned off, or your data expired, that is going to stop. And then you have to either restart the download process. That whole thing that is happening is from the protocol called the TCP, Transmission Control Protocol. For the UDP, like do a video call, live video call, online gaming, or voice over IP, just you will experience little glitches when you're using a UDP. You got to just prioritize speed and delivery and faster delivery. So let's take our second video, second break video. We'll soon be done with the one. So let's take the second video and I'm not sharing. Let's take the second video.
But I want to shift to the hiring context. This time you're not a banker, but you're hiring for a company. Right. And you get thousands of applications to create a short list of people. You're tempted to use an algorithm, as many companies do.
Right, Amazon, Facebook, Uber, a lot of companies do, yeah.
Is there anything wrong with that?
Even, let's say, they are precise in predicting. Is that what we want as a society is a good question, because sometimes precision means that the past is frozen into the future. Let's say your algorithm is very precise and is picking your high performers based on past data, but we as a society believe in change and possibility.
So you would not use an algorithm even to compose the short list when you were hired?
I think error makes society function better. For example, my first job, I really needed to find a job as a programmer, and I was young, I didn't have any experience. I just faked the interview on the whiteboard in a language I never had programmed in. I got the job. I was like a borderline homeless teen in Istanbul as a teenager, so this was very important to me. So there, the hiring people made a mistake, but that mistake gave me a chance to not have my past determine the future.
I think we're missing a critical third factor, in addition to accuracy and fairness in this conversation, which is transparency. Because once we're talking about hiring decisions, for example, the algorithm can do a lot. At the end of the day, humans, which may be less fair or maybe more fair than algorithm, we can ask them, why did you make that decision?
So when you put in your application,
yes,
do you, even if there are thousands of other people applying for that job,
right,
you want the company to have somebody, a human being, sit and read each and every one of those 1,000 applications, even to create the short list?
Maybe not to create the short list, I understand, but I absolutely want to talk with a human at the end of the day.
We've been talking about algorithms and hiring, assuming that they're playing some kind of nefarious role, but I also think we have to acknowledge that algorithms and hiring can play a good role. You can train an algorithm, or you can instruct the algorithm to say, hey, I want more candidates from underrepresented racial backgrounds. You can also say, if I wanted to, for instance, give a chance to mothers who had taken time off from the workforce, who are then trying to re-enter, and that's a famously hard thing to do. So it's not that algorithms in hiring are all bad. They can actually be used for a lot of equitable purposes as well. It's just about, what are you telling the algorithm to do?
All right. So what do we also think about it? Do you want to use an algorithm for your recruitment process, that when you're hiring people, or how do you intend to use it? Or do you think it's even fair to use it in the first place? Maybe let's hear from 4 persons. Will you want to use it, for example, if people are applying for the job at your company, or even if you are the one applying to a company? Do you think it is fair that a company use an algorithm to select the best candidate, or they should call all of you one by one, or basically they themselves should examine all of the applications? Or what is your view about it? What do you think is best? Let's hear from JMAS Mobile. JMAS Mobile.
Okay. Good evening from China.
Good evening from China. Are you closer to someone, or you have another device on? Are you closer to someone, or you have another device on?
No, I think it's the airport. Let me just disconnect it.
I think it's the airport. Let me just disconnect it. Okay. Okay. All right. So while he's doing that, okay. Let me mute some of you guys. I think one of you have another device on. Okay. All right. I'm sure others can still hear me without the feedback. So let's hear from Samulu. Samulu,
Yes, President, thank you so much. Thank you so much, President. You getting me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, again, I'm Samuel Zebala from Shanghai. I think, President, I see it in 2 dimensions. One, it could be a scheme to create some limitation, like giving an example, like Liberia, giving our limitation and the kind of concentration of the population. A company could use it as a scheme to narrow down on a specific, and at the end of the day, you have probably non-Liberian being targeted and being used as a medium to eliminate. But taking in the corporate world, like places like the United States or China, I think it's also a tool that are getting the best to work for a company. So I'll look at the 2 dimensions.
All right. Okay. Let's get a perspective of others. I think JMAS is back. JMAS.
Yes.
Yeah, come in.
Okay, good evening. I'm Jemas and Mobile from China, Juju City precisely. And thank you for the opportunity, actually. Well, from my perspective, I would say that I think it's not fair to entirely use machine when it comes to these things. Okay. Because it might be okay for certain people and in certain places. But when you're looking at it deeply, it won't be fair. Probably you could do it like 50-50. That's okay, because if you use machine entirely, I don't care what you do, something or somehow somebody can trick a machine. Like we were saying, the technology world is advancing, and apart from that, if you are using only machine to interview people, how are you gonna know these people face to face? How are you gonna know how would they react to certain things if you're not using people to interview them? So that's my professor. So that's my take.
All right, maybe they might use the algorithm to do the selection process, because maybe, for example, you are the HR and you have like 100 persons or 500 people that apply for the piece of job. Do you want to go through each of the applications, or you just take all of the applications, chunk it into the system, and just put an instruction that like find me a candidate that best match the vacancy notice that we release, or you want a person to keep checking each application? Maybe the next phase, for those that will be selected by the algorithm or the system, they can be called for a physical interview, but then somebody might actually drop on the process that could have been there. Also, we don't know. But let's hear from Gaswa S. Boo. Mr. Boo, are you there?
Let me, okay, all right, sorry, I'm here. I was muted.
Okay.
Okay, so I think for that is actually in two phases. For corporation or entity that are handling a lot of CVs based on a large scale recruitment process, I think it's important that they institute measure where algorithm can be able to shortlist individuals for a particular role. Because now in most of those corporations, you see there are a lot of candidates that write CVs, and those CVs or resumes are very, very complex. In fact, if you want to use an individual to be able to go through all of that process, it takes more time. But then having an algorithm to do that reduces the stress and tension that comes to HR department to be able to shortlist individual for an interview. And this is something that is happening. It's a good thing that we are talking about the internet and how it works. Now, you know, because of the COVID and all of that, the world transitioned to a position wherein there are jobs remotely. There are jobs that you can do hybrid from, your office or from your home and all of that. And now there is a future called the ATS. It's a technology that scans resumes, and then it's more like the algorithm that you are talking about. It selects those resumes and CVs that are compatible with their system, and then it shortlists this individual. So as we are learning about technology, it's important that we learn how those technology works. And there are a couple of things. I don't want to take much of the time, but I just want to share it for the benefit of all of us, because maybe we might be applying for a job remotely. We don't want to just send CVs that are normal, because when it goes through those ATS and all of that, our CVs will be rejected, and then we will not be shortlisted for interview. So there are some stuff we can take into consideration to prepare resumes that are compatible with an ATS system. That is to create a version of our resume that is used only for the ATS system as well. To stop using fancy formatting. Most of us now, because of artificial intelligence, people will just go and then use AI to just prepare their resume and all of that. In this particular world, if you want to apply for jobs remotely, it will be difficult for you to have those jobs if you are using fancy resume. You should use universal black fonts instead of people applying a lot of colors and all of those things. And then it is important that you include the essential skills and qualifications found in the job posting, using exact language that is used in the job posting, and paying particular attention to the hard skills identified in the job posting. So for some of us that we need job remotely, and there are already companies and entities that have those ATS system installed into that. So it's important that we learn how to beat them. If we have cooperation, it's good that we institute those algorithms to lessen the burden on HR during recruitment processes. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. So let's hear from Arvin, and then lastly we hear from Dodo. Yeah, Arvin. And for those following, you can also share your thoughts in the chat session. What do you think about this?
I'm good.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm good. People have always set my mind. So
okay,
I'm okay.
That's good. That's good. All right. So that means we have to.
All right. I want to shift to the hiring context. This time you're not.
Be very careful when we are now dealing with the way we send our CVs here and there, because you don't know the next company what that HRS is using. Maybe the HR is a technical person, so he or she have designed a system to ease their job and in finding the best candidate for that job. So let's be careful, because some of you have applied to 10 jobs and they have not even they have not even called you for a single one of them. So you can try to re-strategize, as Gaswa have also suggested, and make sure your CV is in alignment with the job notice, the things that people are looking for. Let your CV be able to speak to these things. It shouldn't just be a generic one that you are using for all of the jobs. You are using just one CV. So let's get it going. We have few minutes and we have few slides to end today's session. There are some devices that help us to connect, or in this interconnecting aspect. The link will be shared shortly for the attendance so that we can do our attendance for the day. So some of the devices that we use for this internetworking thing, or the way in which the internet operates, there are devices. One of them is called a modem. So the modem, basically, the ISP will have this one, or they will either tell you to get this one. So when the fiber optic line or the normal crossover cable or RJ45 connection comes to your house or to your company, you will need to have this modem there for some ISP or for some companies. For some, like home routers, they already come in with everything. They come built in with everything. Do I have one here? They come built in with everything. It's all in one. Where you have there's one there for one port on that router for the ISP, the person who's providing the internet. And then there are other ports there for other devices that need to connect via the line or through cables. And within that same building router, they have a wireless capability. So most of the home routers operate like this. You don't need to buy the modem, buy the switch, buy the router. They all come in one. But if you are dealing with a large company or even a small office, it will not be like the all-in-one router, except that company is still traveling. But the modem basically there to do that. Take the connection from the internet service provider, convert it in a way that your own system can be able to receive that connection, and then you can either broadcast from there. So modem is just modulation and demodulation. For the router basically direct traffic. Like we saw in the OSI model, router operates on a layer 3. So that guy is the traffic director of your network. And then we also have a switch. This switch connects devices within the network, basically operating within a single local network. The switch don't have anything to do with the outside world. It handles devices on your local area network. It is your router that communicates with the outside world, or that sends your information out to the outside world. We see on day 2 and day 3, when a client is trying to, for example, if you're at home right now or in your office and you want to visit or access, let's say, Facebook.com or YouTube.com, that connection leaves your phone or your computer, passes through your switch, and then goes to your router. So your router IP address serves as a default gateway. So it passes through your router before going out to the internet. Any connection you're on, that request passes through your router before going outside. If it is something within your local network, then you don't have to go outside. But if it's something that is not in your local network, then your router will request that information from outside. Okay, so these things are the three most important guys, but we'll talk about a few of them later on in the other slide. Access point, I show you in one of the pictures on a table from one of the systems that I was doing. This access point, for most of the home routers, they already come built in with the access point. The access point helps you to just show your Wi-Fi name. In some routers, you can disable it. We'll show you during the demonstration on day 3. You can disable it, or you can enable for other people to see your Wi-Fi name. So seeing a Wi-Fi name is done with access point. It can be a separate device. For bigger company, they will have a separate device. For smaller company or just for the home, they come all in one. Even the firewall. Firewall can come as a software. Firewall can come as a physical device. Firewall help us to protect our network or our devices from intruders or from hackers. So the people that are doing hacking, for you to stop them from entering your network or from harming devices on your network, you implement a firewall security. You can either put the firewall before your router so that all connection that is coming in should first hit your firewall before coming to your router, or you can put the firewall after your router, in between your switch and your router, to protect your switch and every other local devices on your LAN. They can come as a software. Some of you, even on your computer, you have Windows Defender. Windows Defender is a firewall. McAfee, Avast antivirus, they are all firewalls. So firewall can come in software, it can come in hardware. We also have a hub. These days, we're not using hub again because this guy was the first guy that came before switch. This guy, when you send something on a guy, he would tell everybody. That's how you're operating. So when you use a hub, once you send something to somebody, like probably you want to send a message to a specific device on that local area network, hub is going to inform everybody. Gentlemen, this message is here. Please check to see if this message is for you. That's what hub is going to do. But for the switch, every device has a MAC address. So the switch is going to identify the specific device that matches that MAC address. So these days, people are not using hub again. So this almost the same thing we talk about the switches. This is a Cisco Catalyst switch, 9200 and 3650. Switch will have many ports. It's another easier way to identify it. It will have many ports. When you see it, too many ports will be on it. But for a router, you will not find many ports on a router. You will just have few ports on a router. Firewall also, they come in a physical one, also come in a software format, just to protect your connection from intruders. For a typical home network, you get your fiber optic cable or your ISP cable coming in to go into the modem. And we just talked about the modem. From the modem, the connection will go to your router. From the router, then they come to the switch before your phones and laptops and smart TVs can all get access to the internet. So the very same process happens when your smart TV or your cell phone or your laptop want to communicate with a service outside of your network. It will also pass through your router. Your router will now go on the internet to find that particular server or system you want to access. In the same concept of firewall, I remember when I was back home, the director said he don't want people to access Facebook, YouTube, and all these things during work hour. So from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock, Facebook and YouTube should be blocked. So I was able to implement that on the network to ensure that nobody using that network can access Facebook or YouTube or any social platform within the time range. And I use Microtech at the time to implement that. The same concept for some of us in China. You don't access some social media platforms here in China until you use a VPN, right? Because China have what we call the Great Firewall of China that blocks so many application and system within your local ISP or call across the country. You can access certain applications until you use certain software. So the same concept apply here. For most of the routers, the default IP address to access that router is the class C address of 192.168.1.1, and it's going to bring up the interface for you to configure your router. And there are different terminologies for when it comes to networking types. We have PAN. PAN means a personal area network, like a Bluetooth airport and all of these things. It's part of a network that we call personal area network. And then for LAN, it's the local area network, like your Wi-Fi, your small connection at home. And then the metropolitan area network cut across for cities, okay? Cut across for cities. And the wireless local area network is what we have maybe, for example, on different flows. You might have Wi-Fi on different flows, or you might have it covering an entire building. So these are different terms, and there are different topologies. Topologies mean the way in which we want to design our network. We could design it in a star format. We could design it in a mesh format. We could design it in a ring or in a bus format. But many people are not using the bus and ring, because the ring, if anything breaks, the entire ring connection problem happen right there. Even if you use a bus is just like a straight line. So if anything tamper with that line, everybody else lost connection on that network. So the one that is commonly used is the star topology or the mesh topology. So we take our last video of the day, and let me try to find it here. We take our last video of the day, and let's get ready for our attendance. The rest will be shared. The link will be shared shortly so that we can take our attendance. Tomorrow, if today was easier for you, tomorrow we're going to do IP addressing and subnetting. IP addressing and subnetting is going to happen tomorrow. And the Cisco packet tracer will happen on day 3 for us to do the demonstration of all of these things that we are saying so that you can see it in real time. We have that happening on day 3. So let's play this video and then we can have a few discussions.
The constant affirmation of our own views that's driven by the content that we quote unquote engage with, but really is just give our eyeballs and our time to. It just creates this confirming where we are seeking to build community amongst that in group that Zainab mentioned, and then we harden those views. And when we harden it, it's just, it makes it almost impossible to let the other side in.
Do you find this among the people who work for you or whom you work with? Do they have a hard time engaging in reasoned discussion on tough questions where there may be disagreement?
In general, I find that I disagree oftentimes with my coworkers, but we are always able to get to a place of agreement and truth-seeking and assuming positive intent if we're able to talk live. So if we're able to even do it over video, right, or even better in person, we have a much more productive, civilized debate that gets us to a solution. When you have
email threads going on or, comment threads. That is not a productive way for professionals, generally speaking, to resolve tricky issues and engage in debate. That's one of the things I would coach my younger team members on. People who are new to entering the workforce, I would say it's easy to rely on some of these things that we tend to do or see on social media, which is commenting back and forth. But in reality, if you pick up the phone or get on a video chat or grab a meeting room and just talk to somebody, a lot of times you can get to the better joint answer a lot quicker.
I want to give Melanie a chance to answer the question that Carol addressed. Do you find that young people who come into the workplace have bad habits that you need to help them overcome in order to communicate effectively in that setting?
Yeah, there's a great sort of course I took called generational diversity, and because it was around the time that all 5 generations were in the workplace. Boomers would say, no, I want to have a sit down. We need to sit down and have a full conversation, right? Let's talk through this. Gen Xers were like, oh, just call me on the phone. Just give me a ring. We can talk through it, right? Millennials were like, chat me. Don't come down and talk to me. I don't want to see, don't call me. And then the next generation after that, they were like, I'll hit you on DM. Right? And so you have all of these ways.
What does that mean?
Direct message.
You just give away your generation.
Right. And it's just interesting to see that we communicate differently based on the generation we were brought up in. And so when I go in and try to train someone, I said, when you're writing an email, don't write in short form, right? Don't write to me as if you are doing chatting, right? Let's use full sentences. Let's talk through what that means. Again, in the same way, there are some things that are better to have an in-person conversation with, right? When you have to deliver tough news, when you're doing a performance review, you want to be able to see someone, you want to be able to feel their energy, you want to know what that space feels like.
You said in person. Yeah. What about remote work? Does that count as in person?
So it depends. If you can set up, if you can set up an environment where you feel like you have an in-person virtual environment, that's fine. I do think it's really important that people have cameras on, right? And so even if you're in this virtual Zoom, try to set up space and time when you can actually have your camera on.
In Zoom, remote work, does that work?
I am a big fan of video-based work. I think that it is a real substitute for a lot of in-person conversations. And I think that on balance, the benefits that it has brought to overall well-being for the workforce is really good. Are there some things that I think can only really be done in person? In-person whiteboarding, jamming out on ideas, brainstorming. Yes, I think that there are those things. But do I think that, a lot of these jobs have to be done 5 days a week in the office in person? No.
Okay, I think I lost my connection on the other side. So the Internetworking, it's have to be put into use. My other device, I can't access it. So let's use this time to do our attendance. I'm sending the link now in the chat. You can click on the link to do your attendance. Okay, click on the link to do your attendance. Okay, or you can just copy and paste it in your browser to take your attendance. While I bring up the screen. The first day, if today was easier for you, tomorrow might be a little bit, because tomorrow is just numbers. We are basically going to deal with numbers tomorrow. Yeah, I'm back on the other side. Please, let's do our attendance. Let me put back my slide. Okay. So the attendance, as you can see, the time that it was launched, In China here is 9. I think I pasted in the chat by 9:30. What? Let me see. So anything that will come after the next 20 minutes, for those that will send any kind of a record by maybe 1 minute after 10 o'clock, that will not be counted as a valid attendance for the day. So please take this time, go and do your attendance.
The constant affirmation of our own view.
Okay. Go and do your attendance while we are going through with the remaining slide. Yeah, so basically just to end it, we talk about cablings so that we can end day 1, because we're going to use these cables. I just shared the link, so please use it. We're going to use these cables for the connection we'll be establishing during the practical sessions. So it's important to know what are these cables, and probably you might even see them or hear about them tomorrow, or you already have used some of them, like the twisted pair cables. They are the ones we use in our everyday system. For those that don't use the fiber optic connection yet, we use the twisted pair cables. And for Wi-Fi and all of that, there is no cable. So we use what we call the wireless or radio frequency. So the radio frequency is what we use for Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi, there's no cable. You're just using the electromagnetic spectrum to broadcast the frequency, radio frequency waves. For fiber optic, we talk about it. It uses pulses of light to transfer your data from one place to another, and it can go for a very, very long distance. And we saw a section of the fiber optic line that is connecting different countries and connecting the entire globe. So 50 to 100 kilometer, a single fiber line can go that distance, and even farther than that. So for the twisted pair cables, we have seen this kind of cables with the RJ45, the register jack 45. Tomorrow we are going to focus on IP addressing and subnetting. Today is on internetworking. So this is the twisted pair copper cables. This is the one we mostly use in our computers and normal devices here and there. For the wireless, we use the radio frequency. For fiber optic, we have seen the video and we have talked a lot more about it. So these are the major cablings or connection medium or media that we have when it comes to networking. And this is the electromagnetic spectrum. This spectrum, some part of the spectrum is not being used by or cannot be used by individuals. Okay? Cannot be used by individuals. Government and some agencies have been restricted to use certain aspect of the spectrum. And certain aspect of the spectrum is what allows us to have FM broadcasts. You can listen to radio. You can also do audio, television, cellular, wireless. They all have a part or a specific spectrum that they all deal with. Let me resend the link again for the attendance. In the next few minutes, any other record that is coming will not be captured. So as a recap of the day, today we focus on networks, letting you know that they are devices, sharing ways to communicate, and they have unique addresses. And we talk about the OSI model and the TCP/IP model that give us the ability so that different manufacturers making their products, these products can be able to communicate with the other manufacturer's product using this standard. And we also talk about modem, routers, switches, access point, and firewalls. Each of them play a distinct role in a network. And we also talk about the network types. Somebody said the link is not working. Try to, is there anyone who are able to access the link? I'm coming, let me see. So we talk
Yes,
about the net.
my attendance.
Yeah, I was able to access the link.
The link is
Hold
working.
on.
Okay. So those I can
It
access,
is
please check.
it is working actively.
Okay,
I
thank
think
you.
the person should copy and
get
paste
one
in
power
their
of the cable
browser.
reaching that area.
I think you get to click on the directly from the link. When you try copying and carry to your browser, I think
Okay, copy and carry to your browser.
Okay.
Somewhere move to another country, you
It
get
also
one
works
power
like
of the
that.
cable reaching
You can
everything.
copy and
I
paste.
tried copying
What do you
and
expect?
using my browser. I have problems, so I just click on it
What kind of phone
directly.
you
And,
using?
Okay, let's
Move to
end
another
it
region.
shortly. We'll come to the social section. Well, thank you for the feedback.
I got double fiber connection, bro, so I'm not slow.
Man.
I mean, that mean
I'm not using single line. I'm using multiple line.
Okay, so that's it for the day. Tomorrow we're going to focus on IP addressing and subnetting. I will just show you this. Somebody, these guys have. Yeah, I think I said it. There's always this feedback from your end. So tomorrow we're going to focus on IP addressing and subnetting. This would be the network we build on day 3 plus other networks if time is permitted. We have other networks, but there's the network that we're going to design. Okay? There's a network we are going to design on day 3. As we can see, there are end devices. There is a switch. There is a router. And these are connections or cables connecting the different routers. And even here is another cable connecting. We just talked about one of the cablings, the copper cable connecting the computer to the switch. From the switch to the router, you also need another cable. So we're going to see how we can build it. And if you can even test it, if you click here on this sample PDU, you can be able to ping or send a packet or the data from one device to the other device. Okay? Can we just do the normal screenshot? No. We can't do the normal screenshot because I have to take time to be looking through each of those pictures, and some of you don't use your real name, so we don't have much days, so I can't be able to use a screenshot this time. Though we'll just take a picture for the posting on the platforms, but we can't use it for the attendance. So we are sorry. This time around, we can't use the normal way. We have to make progress as TIT. Okay. So we hope that you completed your attendance so far. If you haven't, maybe you can take your own screenshot to justify, because we also need to know what you learned. So it's not just a screenshot. So as you can see, we sent a sample PDU from this PC on this local area network to this computer on this other network. We were able to have a successful transfer of our sample PDU that we sent. So we'll be designing this network, okay, on day 3. But tomorrow we're going to talk about the way in which this network is talking to this network, or devices on this network can send information to devices on the network, is because of the address, the subnet, and everything. So we first have to talk about it before we can start building a network. Because if you don't understand the addressing, you will just be maybe copy and pasting, following through with the network diagram, but you don't understand what actually is happening. So tomorrow we'll talk about this IP addressing and subnets. Thank you for today. I will stop here and then probably take 4 persons to get a feedback or probably any comments for day 1 or anything maybe you also submitted it in your attendance, but we want to share what you were able to learn for day 1. The video will be posted on TIT YouTube channel, so you can always go back there and rewatch the video. The link will be shared later on today, and every other thing will be shared. So let's, Jefferson, your hand is raised. Any comment, any feedback from day 1?
Yeah, hello everybody. Hello, CEO. Thank you for the presentation today. I was expecting like a question section, but my question remains until the end. So the question I have is from the beginning of the presentation when we were speaking about the issue that has to do with communicating via phone. So I had this experience that I wanted to know what was the course or in this direction, what should be the next steps to do. So in a Barclayville, Barclayville, we have a situation wherein I have this person number saved on my phone, but then if I have to call that person, another person will answer the number, the same number, and the person will be like, you are calling a different number. So I was like, oh, maybe since we are speaking about this, I will bring it up to us. Maybe CEO is going to speak more about it, but I want to say thank you for the presentation. It was well presented and I learned a lot from it today. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Dual identities.
Yeah, sorry.
One number, and then you have 2 persons using that same number. I think it's from the GSM company end. It's from the GSM company and probably the SIM card production. They repeated, or they actually get 2 copies of it, and they actually sell the same 2 copies, but that should not be. So it is from the GSM end. You can just communicate with them, and I'm sure they'll be able to fix that from their side. But it's not the cell tower and it's not your device problem. It is from the company itself. Evema Sele, your hand is raised. So that
Are you
means,
getting me?
yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Today, there's an opportunity to be part of the training. I have learned a lot again in networking, cable, fiber optics, or connectivity, especially the one that has to do with my country. And today, I understand that Liberia only have 1 cable connecting to the West Africa fiber optic cable. Yeah, so I think at the beginning of last year, we experienced disconnection when it comes to network. So today I have gotten clear understanding on how it works. So thank you. I look forward to getting new knowledge again tomorrow for another session. Thank you.
All right, thank you as well. Let's increase the cable. Let's get more cable there so that internet can be better. Honorable Boye?
Yes, sir, Brazil.
Yeah, let's hear from you.
Yeah, 2 minutes, 2 minutes learned today, so.
CEO.
Yes, yes.
I'm talking.
Emmanuel, please wait.
CEO, sir.
Yeah, not bad. Somebody's on the floor. Yeah, Flomo, you can come in. Emmanuel.
Yeah, Brazil, 2 minutes, 2 minutes learned today, so yeah, so let me just narrow it down to one of it. Yeah, I was able to learn the differences between an internet network and internet and so forth. So I was made to understand that a network is just a single group of connection devices, and an internet form forms when 2 or more separate networks are joined together. So, and yeah, one good thing we learned today again is about this backbone of the internet. Okay, wherein the fiber optic cable serves as the backbone of the internet globally. And sadly, a country that got their independence since 1847 had just 1 of them. Yeah, which was very bad. But we hope to increase the cables in the near future. Okay then.
All right. Thank you all for joining. Thanks to the Willie and every other volunteer. Thank you for joining. Tomorrow we meet here again. Please install the software. Please, the link was shared. Please install the software. For those that left a comment in the chat session, thank you. For those that have to go, if you already submitted your attendance, you can also leave. Let's.
Hello, CEO. So I got a sorry for